Hey, it's Mr. Lonergan. We're looking at problem number 16 from the exam prep packet. Mr. Lonergan looked at 30 test scores to compare dancers versus other majors. Wow. First of all, if I add these numbers up, I think there's 9 here. I think there's 27 here. So can you help Mr. Lonergan be better next time? And remind him that there's 36 numbers altogether. The first question says, which group had the higher average score? Gosh, there's so many ways to do it. I believe in efficiency. So I like to enter the data in my calculator, stat, edit, and you can see I've already entered the dancer data in L1 and the other major data in L2. Let's focus on that for a second. Great. Now, when I'm ready to calculate my averages and my standard deviation and things like that, I want to go ahead and press Stat, Calc, and then one variable statistics. It's the very first choice. When I hit enter there and hit enter again, it's going to give me a whole list of information about L1, including the mean, X bar, which is 72.11. So the dancer average was 72.11. Let's keep going because it asks about which one is the most spread out. Well, the standard deviation, which is this symbol here, sigma x, for dancers is also on my calculator. It's that second one from the bottom, 19.34. So I can write that in as well. Now, if I'm really being slick, I could figure out some other information on this calculator as well. I can go down with the arrow keys and see the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum. All the information is there. Just to help me later, I could find the max and the min, I could subtract them to find the range. And the range for this data set, the max is 98, the min is 38, so the range is 60. That's another way of talking about how spread out data is. And the third way we used to talk about how spread out data was the IQR, the interquartile range, and that was Q3 minus Q1. Ms. Heim has probably talked to you about those before as well. But when I plug those in, Q3 is 87, Q1 is 51.5. I subtract them and I think I get, let's check, 87 minus 51.5, 35.5. So for dancers, I know their average, that was X bar. I know the standard deviation, the max and the min, Q3, Q1, and then calculated the range and the IQR just by plugging things into the calculator. Let's do the same for the others. Now the others I've already entered in L2, so I do stat, edit, and you can see my numbers are there in L2, 54, 72, 100. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. I'm going to press stat again, go over to calc, one variable statistics, but this time before I hit enter I want to tell it to use list 2, and so I'm going to press the second button and go down and find the yellow L2 right above the 2 button. So I press that and then press enter. Once I've got that, we can focus in on the results there. An average now of 76.22. I'm going to move my calculator over so you can see that while I write the information down. The others average was 76.22. What about the other information? Well, the standard deviation is down here. Sigma x is 20.21. standard dev is 20.21 when I round it. And then the other information, the range and the IQR, I get from calculating the min, max, Q3, Q1, all that stuff. It's right in there. Can you trust me that the range equals 85 and that the IQR equals 29? So, which group had the higher average score? We need to make sure we've answered the question. The others had the higher average score. Which group's data was the most spread out? Well, bigger the number means most spread out. So if we're talking about standard deviation, the others were the most spread out. If we're talking about range, the others were the most spread out. And if we're talking about IQR, the interquartile range for the middle 50% of the data, the dancers were the most spread out. So the answer can change, both are right, but it depends how you explain yourself. Where it says part C, use your answers from A and B to make a prediction which group did the best on the test. Please explain your answer. I think if I look at the data, the place where I'm going to look to make a prediction is the averages. Average includes every data point, and I'm looking at the fact that the other average is 4 points higher than the dancer average. So my prediction would be other majors did best. Sorry, dancers. And then I just want to explain myself by saying that they had higher average. X bar. Okay? That's all for number 16. See you in a second with number 17.